I'm embarrassed to even say it, but that's what we did at the time. Like, she's got to be compliant. We can't get these drills done if she's not sitting at the table. The most rewarding for me are the ones where the child and the parent are having meaningful experiences, connections that they just never had before. And, I have so many situations like that where a client never hugged their mom or said, I love you, and just initiated hugging and saying, I love you after 6 months.
But you follow the money trail. There's a lot of money in ABA programs.
Yep.
And if private equity firms are buying them, put 2 and 2 together.
Mm-hmm.
And now society is shifting away from the child again and what's best for families, and it's what's profitable. This is the UNspecial podcast. We are a space for parents to be seen, heard, equipped, and inspired. We're not here to tell you what to do with your child or present the latest and greatest behavior modifications. We are simply here for you, the parent. And our goal, our hope, is that through every one of these conversations, you leave feeling a little bit more inspired and hopeful. We are glad you're here. Hope you enjoy this next episode. All right, this is the UNspecial podcast. Today I am joined with Brooke Wagner. She is the owner of Therapeutic Approach to Growth, which I just got a little session before we jumped on. And the podcast host of Finding Hope on the Spectrum, which I had the privilege to be on a few weeks ago. Well, I guess it'll be weeks ago once this posts, but that was super fun. So, Brooke, thank you for being on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah. So, super interested. It's always fun having, primarily this space is for parents and families. But I also, every so often like to have experts in the field. And I think it's a good avenue, give parents ideas and see what they come up with it. But so you own Therapeutic Approach to Growth. Go back way back. What got you into special needs, and what drew you in?
Yeah, I mean, I was so fortunate. I was a psych undergrad. I loved psychology. I knew that this was going to be my field of, at least of psychology. And but with psychology, you have to really have a master's to practice in the field. It felt like it anyway. And so in my undergrad program, a friend of mine invited me to apply for a job working one-on-one with kids with autism. And at the time, I really wanted to work with children that were abused. I don't know why. That was just like a calling that I had. I didn't have personal experience with it. I just felt like I could handle behaviors, and I was really motivated to help these kids. And so I was also told, this is a really high burnout field. Anybody I would tell, they're like, what? Wait, you're in college and you want to work with kids that are abused? Why? And everybody would say, you're going to get burnout. It's a really, high burnout field. And so it's like, well, I found autism, and my friend was like, you're going to love it. And these kids have some challenging behaviors, but the parents are really supportive. And, it kind of fixed.
We're back. It could be me. I don't know.
I'm not sure what happened there, but can you hear me?
Yeah, we're good.
So anyhow, I found this job working as a ABA one-on-one, right? We didn't have RBTs back then, but basically I was an RBT, and just fell in love. And I knew, right away within a few weeks that this was going to be my field of choice. And I've just loved it ever since. And it's been, 25 years, 26 years now. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So over the years, over the years, what have you seen change in the world of special needs and autism and just everything, disabilities?
Yeah.
And that's so 20. So that's like 20,
Yeah.
2000.
2001. Yeah.
2000.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so much has changed. I think for me, the biggest thing that has changed is this idea of presuming competence. You know, back
Ooh,
then,
yeah.
we didn't know that term. We didn't talk about that term. You know, we really didn't, we had a lot of limiting beliefs on what the
Wow.
outcomes were going to look like for the kids. And so, you know, yes, we were doing our best and we were making progress on the goals we were working on. But, you know, I think a lot of professionals didn't really understand how incredible, how smart, how capable these clients were
Yeah.
back then, and especially the non-speakers. You know, I mean, they were put into, you know, high needs classrooms. You know, people would talk about them in front of them, like they didn't understand,
Right.
and you know, it was, you know, just the outcomes didn't look very good. So I think now, you know, we have so much greater understanding of what is possible and how capable they are, and that
Right.
so much can be done, and there's so much hope for them to have successful, high quality lives. And that's, you know, that's really
Totally.
my passion more than anything, is for our clients that we serve to feel successful, to feel honored, to feel like their opinion matters, that they have a say over their life, and that it's important, and it's important that they know that and they express that. And those things were not really a part of our culture back then. It was a lot of drills at the table. It was all discrete trial.
Yeah. Discrete trial training.
Yes.
Put in
Oh,
box.
every
Wow.
house I would go to was just my binder of drills, and I would sit and, you know, drill the
Yeah.
kids, and I was good at it. I like got results. I was like, we're gonna get this done,
Totally.
you know. But
I remember the first class, the first student I ever worked with. He had Angel Man
mhm.
syndrome, and I was a substitute paraeducator, like the lowest of the low. And I worked with him for a day, and then the teacher was like, "All right, you're gonna be with him the rest of the year."
Mhm.
And I was like, "Okay, cool." And then she was a phenomenal. Thank you again so much for being here. We love these conversations and we hope you do as well. If you are enjoying what you're hearing, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share this with your friends. We don't make any money off of this. We do this simply for you, the parent, and our goal is for many parents to hear these conversations as you have. So if it's landed with you, if the UNspecial platform is landing with you, make sure to find us on Instagram, Facebook, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and share it with your friends. Like, subscribe. That helps get the reach out there. Thank you again for being here. Teacher, but very old school, discrete trial training to the max. And I remember sitting there for hours just trying to get him to put a ball in a
Yeah.
box. And after like a week, I went up to the teacher. I'm like, I've been in this for a week.
Mhm.
I don't like mean anything about it. Like, you're an awesome teacher, but like, what am I doing? Like,
I know.
what am I teaching him? And she went into the whole science of it, and I was like, it just doesn't like logically.
Yeah.
I was just like, why? Let's take him like on walks and do stuff that really does something for his life. Like I don't pretty sure at home his parents aren't like, put the ball in the box. I don't know.
Oh, I agree.
Anyways,
No, good for you for having that intuition, you know, because it took me a while. I was told by all these psychologists that were at these companies, like, this is the gold standard, this is going to help these kids. And I, you know, I just went along and I was like, this is what I'm been told is the best. So I'm going to get really good at this.
yeah,
You know, I did it for a little while until, you know, I learned about other things, and then switched my path.
right.
But
Yeah. Well, it's interesting too. How has ABA changed over the years? When did ABA even was it around in
yeah,
2001?
it was, yeah, we were doing ABA. I mean, it was all, you know, that was the original style, was discrete trial training. But
Right.
and then it evolved. But
And then
But we have,
ABA
well, we didn't have
for
BCBAs
anyone.
back then. There were no BCBAs. It was just either psychologists or master's level supervisors. And
Uh-huh.
BCBA.
And ABA, applied behavior analysis. BCBA, board certified behavior
Uh huh.
analysis.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Will you dive into ABA a little bit
Sure.
and kind of explain
Mm-hmm.
what that is and how you do it now with
Yeah,
TAG?
yeah. So ABA is, really looking at the science behind behaviors and shaping behaviors and, positively changing behaviors. And so, that was one way to do it with those discrete trial trainings at the table. But it's evolved
Mm-hmm.
so much since then and for the better. And, at TAG, we focus on a naturalistic ABA style. So our BCBAs are trained by us and come, with the intention of wanting this kind of opportunity to provide this style of ABA. And so
Mm-hmm.
we focus more on play based opportunities, more meaningful, authentic
Okay.
learning, more hands on opportunities and activities. So we're not sitting at the table and drilling the kids. We're getting up and moving around. We have a clinic space, but we also go into the home. And we really try to make it meaningful so that the child is internally motivated to learn and grow. And I know without
Yeah.
100%, I mean, no doubt at all that internal motivation is completely possible with the right environment and the right intention and the right communication. A lot of things have to come into play, but the kids can be internally motivated to learn and to grow and to share.
Mm.
And so we try really hard not to use any external reinforcement. That's a big component of a more natural program, which,
Yeah. Token
yes,
systems.
yes, all the food reinforcers that we used to use. And,
Uh,
oh my
well, I think that feels like it's that's how I was trained in ABA early, like initially,
God. Uh-huh.
and then I started researching ABA, and I always like to look at the opposing critics'
Mhm.
views, and a lot of them were like, "This is just like training a dog,"
Yeah. Yeah.
and I mean, what shifted for me, like you're saying in the naturalistic standpoint,
Mhm.
was I remember I was doing some activity with token system, and the student just wasn't having it.
Mhm.
And then I thought, well, probably he's not into this because he could care less about whatever this activity is.
Mhm.
So then I applied the same um, intrinsic motivation for something he really liked,
Yeah.
and then that made all the difference.
Yeah. That's huge. Again, that intuition that you
Mm.
listen to is huge, and you really took the time to think and consider what the student needed to be successful,
Yeah,
and that goes
right.
so far. I mean, that's if you have that, if you just can maintain that mindset alone, you're going to have great results because you're going to make adjustments to
Yeah,
what the student needs.
right. And that was a big when I was teaching, where I would clash with the BCBAs a little bit.
Hmm.
Is they were so programmed in the textbook
Yeah.
and applying it to every single student.
Hmm.
Where I would come in and I coined the phrase street sped
Hmm.
because I just had more of a logical viewpoint on all of it,
Hmm.
and I would apply like street knowledge to special ed um, science, backed methods.
Hmm.
Um, and that usually didn't really sit well with the BCBAs. They would come in from when I was in Sandpoint. They would come in from Boise
Hmm.
for one day.
Hmm.
They would sit in my class for about an hour, and then I would have to meet them for the rest of the day, and they would tell me how I can handle the behaviors differently in my class. And I'm like, you saw them for 1 hour. You don't know this kid at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
And so why should I? And I always I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm just like, can you please explain to me how you think you can tell me
Hmm.
how I'm going to better work with my
Yeah.
student? And then they would be like, well, this is, this is science backed and proven and data. I'm like, none of that, Matt. Cool.
Right. Yeah. I know.
Cool.
I know. It's very tough. It's a
Uh,
very tough position to be in. And I think it's, what I didn't like about the early days too, kind of what you touched on a little bit, is it can be really cookie cutter, and,
mhm.
trying to just apply it without really getting to know the individual.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to try to do. And when they're working with so many clients, they rely on that, more of that style of approach, because you just don't have the time to get to know all the students. And it's unfortunate.
Right.
It does, in my opinion, it just can reduce the quality of individualized care. You just have to have the time to really get to know the person you're supporting.
Uh huh. Yeah. Totally. I remember after that specialist came in, I sat down with the staff and I was like, I'm going to start a consulting business. And I wrote on the board, street sped, make your child feel human
Oh
again.
my gosh, I love it.
And that was during 2020, Trump time.
Yeah.
little play on words. Um, but yeah, so how long has TAG been around, Therapeutic Approach to Growth?
It's
And
21 years actually. Yeah.
21.
Yeah.
Wow. And how did that start and where is it now?
Yeah. Well, I was working for another ABA company. I moved back to San Diego after I graduated, and found another company, and worked there, and kind of got my master's, and moved my way up to being a supervisor, and was supervising those ABA programs. And at the time, the company was they were going through some growing pains, and I just didn't love the working environment. I loved working with the kids and the staff,
Right.
but it was a little bit of a toxic environment. And so I just decided that I was going to create my own business. I was young. I didn't know
Awesome.
what I didn't know. And
Yeah. Sometimes the best choices you can
I
make.
know, I just felt called to do it. I just had it on my heart, and I kind of had some inspiration around it, and thought I should just do this. And so, and I just thought, if the employees are happy and they feel well respected, then they're going to serve the clients better. And
Yeah.
so I'm going to just go for it. And so I just started TAG in my 1-bedroom apartment in Pacific Beach. I
Nice.
rolled out of bed into my desk, and that was my office. And
Uh-huh.
I just started with one family at a time. And I was getting my certification at RDI at the time too, which is Relationship Development Intervention. And that's
Mm-hmm.
my main area of expertise. And so I just started with one RDI client, and then that client talked to another family, and that family started, and I just organically grew the business until I needed to bring somebody on. And then I hired my first RDI consultant, and she's still with us today. Uh,
No
years.
way.
Yeah. And we do, really value just that longevity of the staff and our relationships with them, and what a journey we've been on over the years. And at that time, I was actually doing RDI and ABA, and I was doing discrete trial ABA. And I'll never forget being at one of my clients' houses, and I was in one room teaching the tutor to treat compliance at the table. I mean, I'm embarrassed to even say it, but that's what we did at the time. Like, she's got to be compliant. We can't get these drills done if she's not sitting at the table. So I was
Right.
teaching her how to work on compliance with rewards, and having, major meltdowns, and child screaming and not wanting to sit at the table. And and then I went into the kitchen, and I met with the mom, and was teaching her about declarative communication, and how to make adjustments to your pacing, and to support your child in a really meaningful and authentic way. And they couldn't have been more different. And so I realized at that time I just couldn't do both anymore. And so I let my families know, I'm just going to focus on RDI, and I'll help you find other ABA companies if you want to choose ABA. If you want to choose RDI, I'm happy to keep working with you. And so I help them find family or companies they could work with, and the ones that wanted to do ABA, and just focused solely on RDI. And, since then, the field has evolved so much. We brought back ABA and in a more naturalistic way, and we can, get it funded through insurance. And so, and the field has evolved, or it's accepted now. But at that time, we
Right.
just didn't know there was another way. It was just all that traditional way.
Yeah, yeah. So cool. So you live in Montana.
Mm-hmm.
Tag is based out of San Diego.
Yes.
How many families do you serve?
We range a couple hundred families at a time at a given time. Yeah.
Wow,
So, yeah.
that's crazy. How many employees do you have?
We have about between 35 and 40 at any given time.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez, that's incredible. And this is all funded through Regional Center?
RDI is all funded through Regional Center. And so
Uh-huh.
we work with San Diego Regional Center, and we work with Inland Regional Center. And then we also can do self-determination through any of the regional centers. And so that's opened up doors for a lot of families to get funding. And so that's all for
Yeah.
RDI. And then our ABA programs are all funded through insurance and school districts. So we do work with quite a few
Okay.
schools as well, and we can train the schools too and provide support if we have a client that, the family's wanting us to come in and help the team understand what we're doing at home. We can do that too.
Yeah. And this is important for all the listeners to know that there are so many options out there for your kiddos. And start with regional center, start with the school district, and you're going to find that there's tons of resources to help you wherever you need the help. And most of the time they're free for the
Mm-hmm.
families. So huge thing. And then also, will you go into RDI? Because I think this is a very incredible option for families. And I didn't even know what it was until we met the first time.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was this option out there. But RDI, Relationship Development Intervention, I'll just read off of your webpage. RDI is a developmental and cognitive-based, family-focused intervention dedicated to treating the core deficits of autism. And so with RDI, you work directly with the parents, correct?
Yes. So
Okay.
RDI, I love RDI so much. I just have seen the most amazing growth with this program, and I couldn't be more passionate about it. It's a program that works on parental empowerment. So we are
Wow.
consultants, and we work directly with the parents as a collaborative team member. We're not going to come in and be the expert and know it all, because the parents know their kids the best. And we never want
Yes.
to take that away from the families. We want them to feel like they are the expert and they know their child the best. And while they may have things to learn about their child through our collaboration, their intuition is incredibly important and powerful. And, they are the ones that are going to make the big change. And so
Yeah.
it's one thing to have your child go to a therapy center and, gets therapy once a week or even 10 hours a week. But it's another thing as a parent to be empowered to learn how to provide opportunities for growth at any given time. So
Mm-hmm.
the parents learn how to make it a way of life, and they learn how to make daily opportunities meaningful. And what I love about it the most, though, is that it's focused on quality of life, and that, we
Yeah.
really want the families to set their intentions around what's most important in life. And we know what's most important in life statistically, it's relationships, meaningful
Uh-huh.
relationships. People are the most happy if they have meaningful relationships and they feel like they're part of a community. And so, we want that for our kids with autism. We want them to feel like they have meaningful, trusting relationships with their parents, that if they're unsure, they can go to their parents for support. It doesn't have to be verbal, it can be nonverbal too. We're talking about the whole range of all levels of abilities we can support. And,
Right.
and we want the kids to feel empowered, to feel like their opinion matters, that they are honored and respected, and that they're going to be feeling competent in their life. And when you feel competent and successful, you're motivated. and then you want more. And
Right.
so, and we do that through helping the parents develop a guiding relationship with their child. So that's our first step in the whole process. It could take 6 months, it could take a year, it could be less. We say it's a marathon, not a sprint. And so we
Mm-hmm.
want the families to understand that more than anything else, you have to have a guiding relationship with your child where you're not placing a bunch of demands on your child. They're not feeling overwhelmed or uncertain. They feel successful. They feel competent when you're around. And that's going to lead to them being open when you create more opportunities for growth. And so we work a lot of memory retention and communication and pacing, and it's a lot of different components, but we help the families step by step learn them. And then at the end of the day, they get to be the biggest expert of their child, so much so that they
Yeah.
can then advocate for their child, and they can go and teach others what's going to set their child up for success. And
Right.
it's done in a way that is, we really try to take our egos off the table. We really try
Yeah.
to listen to the families, listen to the professionals that are serving our families, and just kind of process it and take time to think. You
Yeah.
gave us so many examples of how you really thought about your students, and you have to do that, especially with complicated kids that need
Yeah.
to really think, like, what did not go well here at all, what went well here, what can we make adjustments around, and then reevaluate. And we're just kind of always in that mindset of learning and adjusting, and
Yeah.
and making sure that the family feels successful and competent. And that includes siblings. We don't just go right to the child. We go to the whole family system and look at all the components that are going on in the dynamics. Are the grandparents involved? Do the grandparents live with them? I have a family that I work with grandma, grandpa, and the mom every single week, and they're amazing. I get to meet with all of them every single week. I mean,
That's so cool.
it's so much fun.
Yeah.
So it's highly individualized for each family, and what their needs are, and adjusts. We have to make adjustments as we go because it's long term. So some of our clients, we're working with on average over 4 years, but
Oh wow.
I've had a
Yeah.
client I've had for 18 years, and
Wow.
watched him go from 10 to into adulthood. And
Yeah.
and we make adjustments as they go through different stages of life. And so it is just a really neat program to be a part of. And I think what is so beautiful about it is that we get to see engagement between the parent and child. We get to see genuine connection, emotional connection, and sharing, because it just feels good, and there's celebration amongst the activities that they're doing, and the interactions they're having, and they're focusing on that emotional attunement. And so when you focus on that, you're going to get it. Eventually it's going to happen. That's what our clients probably want the most when they come to us, is just want to connect with their child. They want to have fun with their child and enjoy their child and feel like they understand their child. And, we get to be a part of that process for them.
Yeah. So you work pretty intimately with families, which I think is so cool, because there's so many therapies and stuff out there, where you come in and you work with a child, and then you leave.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would assume, I mean, and from parents I've heard, it's great because they get a break,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not given the tools to carry it on in the home, and so RDI fills that gap. What are some of the most common challenges you see with families?
I would say most families need help with their communication style. Most of the time, they will either prompt their child and place a lot of demands on their child, and their child resists, withdraws, does not want to have anything to do with that, and feels overwhelmed with it. Or they allow their child to control everything, and then their child is in the driver's seat, and they're not equipped to be in the driver's seat. No child is, right? Especially somebody that could be more confused. So, and that leads to rigidity in behaviors, So I would say most of the families need some help with communication, and we do a lot of work on declarative communication. I just created an online course called Connected Communication that includes all of the different communication styles that I recommend that I've learned from RDI and just my work over the years. And so
is that out?
It's launching today, actually.
Woo!
But I am.
And today is January 21st.
Yes. But I will be doing it more, and I'll probably have it recorded at some point. But right now I'm trying to do it live because I would love to just answer questions and really hear the families' concerns and questions that they have. So I love being with the families and in the trenches with them. So I'm going to try to go live on most of my courses that I'm going to create, but this is my first one, and I'm really excited about it because I think it's just, if nothing else, if you can adjust your communication style and you can be aware of your communication style, just even the awareness makes all the difference. And declarative communication is the style of communication where you're being more invitational, you're sharing your opinions and your ideas, but you're not expecting a specific response. And, you know, a lot of times with our clients, they don't get a specific response from their, or any response. And so it's a natural instinct for us as humans to try to get a response. And so we go into question mode and we go into giving choices and wanting a specific response because it just feels more tangible. But it's kind of when you slow down and when you provide opportunities to just share where the child doesn't feel the pressure to respond, then they become more available to participate. And it's the type of thing that can happen actually pretty quickly if you just, you know, learn to change the communication style, if that's kind of your mode to go into more prompting and demanding. So
yeah. Interesting. So then, what would a successful teamwork around a child look like?
I would say more than anything is just taking the time to listen, you know, not coming in as the expert, coming in as somebody that just wants to hear and listen and collaborate. And like we talked about earlier, a lot of times these professionals can come in and have an agenda in mind or feel like they need to be successful. And so to be successful, their opinion has to be the one established and heard. And I understand like how it all evolves and happens, but I have found that when you can come from a place of just taking the time to hear other people's ideas about that child, whether it's the parents or the speech therapist or a music therapist. I had a meeting recently with a music therapist where we realized that we could learn from each other, number one, and we also had same ideas but called it different things. And so if you just were like, you know, well, she said it this way and I say it that way, it's like, well, actually, we're talking about the same thing. How cool is that? We just come from a different lens with our backgrounds. Yeah. Right. But we're very like-minded at the end of the day, and that's great. And we can learn from each other too, and even better. So I like to have a growth mindset. I think families and professionals, you know, benefit from having a growth mindset. And I think when you come from that with that intention, you're going to really meet the child's needs and get to the bottom of what would be helpful.
Yeah. And from the school system and teaching and IEPs, it always seemed like the experts, right, we would come in and then there would always be like a clash with parents. It's like they're saying one thing like, oh, well, we're trained and we know this and this and this. And then nobody listening to the parents. Which, and then always the parents come into these IEP meetings overwhelmed. And so I would imagine when you start working with families, there's extreme overwhelm and burnout.
Yes.
And so this approach, it would just be a game changer for families.
Yeah. Wow.
They're like, hey, we know what we know. You are the expert. Let's work together and have a growth mindset for your child. It sounds like it's just a no-brainer, right?
I know. It works. All I can say is it works. If the family's on board and they're committed, it works, you know.
Right. What are some of the like some powerful success stories?
So many.
Over the years.
So many.
Yeah.
I think for me, the most rewarding for me are the ones where the child and the parent are having meaningful experiences, connections that they just never had before. And, I have so many situations like that where a client never hugged their mom or said, I love you, and just initiated hugging and saying, I love you after 6 months.
That's everything for a parent.
Everything. These are the little things that mean more than anything, like anything you could ever want. Just even dancing together. I have one of our videos, I believe it's still on our website. I have some video examples on our website at Tag, but I have a client, the one that I've worked with for a long time, and we were working on dancing together, and we were working on, at the time, we were working on him contributing meaningful ideas. So they were dancing together, and they loved Taylor Swift, and they had all these fun. The cousin comes dancing in the room, the little toddler cousin, and in this video, they're taking turns adding dance moves and then trying them out. And so that's where it's meaningful and authentic, because he loved to dance and his mom loved to dance. So it was fun for them. And then halfway into the video, he starts to, his mom takes his hand and she twirls into him, and he twirls her out, and she like dips, and, they're spinning around and dancing together in this way. And just the facial connection, and the engagement is so high. So those kinds of things happen all the time in RDI. They're really common.
Right.
And we have clients that, go from being self-injurious in their pre-RDI video, hitting their face because there's just so much demand, to hugging and connecting with their mom. And, it's just, at the end of the day, what makes us human. That's what we want to have in our life, is that connection, to feel like we're connected to another person and we're valued, and that it's safe. It's emotionally safe. I'm not going to, the client's not going to have all these demands placed on them, and they're not going to feel uncertainty. They can just be in that moment with their parent and connect. And that's, those are the moments I live for. I love the work that I do, because I get to see those things and have the parents tell me, like in the meetings, they're so excited. Like, this is what happened. This is what they did. And it feels so good. And that's really common in our work. So.
Yeah. Is there, in the school system, is RDI like encouraged, talked about?
It depends on the schools. I mean, we're mostly in Southern California. We can work remotely as consultants. That is the nice thing about RDI with parents. And we can work with schools remotely too, but obviously, not being in the classroom, but helping answer questions and things. But some of the schools in San Diego have gotten on board and are open to it. Some are more, strict ABA and only want to work with ABA providers. And so it just depends on the person in charge, really, if they're open to it and they see the value in bringing this in.
Yeah, because I've been out of the school game for a little while now. Do they have even like info nights for parents? Like, all of these options are available to you? Mm-hmm. Do they have any of that?
Not really, that I'm aware of. I mean, I'm not aware of it. That doesn't mean it's not happening, but I'm not aware of it. I think sometimes the schools can get concerned about recommending parents learn about things like this, because then the parents might ask for it and want it funded. So even though
and then it's more work.
Yeah. I mean, it can be, even though it can be, funded by the regional center, and they can get full funding for it on the parent side. But then a lot of parents want us to also contract with the school and collaborate with the teachers. So just to make sure everybody's on the same page.
What would it take on like a more macro scale to support families, like in society? Like how I mean, maybe it would start with this. I'm guessing school districts just refer parents to regional center. And then regional center probably has, info nights like this.
No, they don't. No.
They don't.
I wish, not for RDI, not specifically, no. No, they're, it's a tough field. It's a tough one. I mean, ABA is gold standard. And so,
which is interesting, because I just saw an article that private equity firms are swooping up ABA agencies, and I mean, we don't have time to get into that.
Yeah.
But you follow the money trail. There's a lot of money in ABA programs.
Yeah.
And if private equity firms are buying them,
Yeah.
put two and two together. And now society is shifting away from the child again and what's best for families, and it's what's profitable.
Yes, I know. That's a whole nother long conversation. It's a thing. It is a thing, I can tell you, and it's changing the quality of care field. But it is something that it's hard to be a small business owner, and it's hard to keep these businesses alive, and we're dealing with insurance, and I get why companies are selling their little business to these big companies, and I understand it, but it also is kind of sad of how the field has changed in terms of but
just for the listeners, when you come to finding programs for your kids, make sure that it is child focused and family driven.
Yeah,
is kind of what I would advise. Yeah, tell me about your podcast.
Yeah, well,
Finding Hope on the Spectrum.
Yeah, Finding Hope on the Spectrum. I'm coming up in April on a year, which is very exciting. I can't believe it. I feel like it just started. And
you're top 1% of podcasts.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, if you make it past 24 episodes, you're top 1%.
Well, that makes me feel good. Oh, that's awesome. Well, it's been so much fun. I love it. It's it's a lot of work, but I love it. And I started it because a couple of reasons. So many families would call, and for a while I was in the role of talking to all the new families that wanted information about RDI and our naturalistic ABA programs. And everybody would say, like, why have I not heard about this before? My child got diagnosed. Why have I not heard about RDI? Everybody knew about ABA because that's what everybody's recommended to do. But it just, and other things too, like other things that I've learned about in the field, like primitive reflexes and all the biomedical treatments available and sensory supports and the nervous system. I mean, it goes on, and families were just like frustrated that they hadn't heard about these programs and hadn't started sooner. So that was one of my main driving forces for the podcast, is that I really wanted to get this information out there for families to know about. And they can then decide, then they're informed, and then they can decide what feels right for them. And then also a lot of, because we get funding from different sources, we are told a lot what we can and cannot say and cannot recommend, because funders don't want us to recommend services that the families then go and ask to get funded, which I understand. But when I'm listening to a family tell me about certain struggles that clearly they need, a biomedical doctor, or they need to at least talk to somebody or that has biomedical experience, because that's not my area of expertise, or whatever it may be, all of the different things that I know that are out there, and I'm not allowed to talk about it. And it just got really frustrated in that position. And so I'm like, you know what, this is going to be separate from that work, and I'm going to talk about it. And then they'll have resources available, and then they can choose if they want to listen to it or not. It's up to them, but at least there's some resources available to help families to understand what's out there. So
right
that's kind of how it got started.
That's so good. I mean, we're on similar missions. Support parents, support families. That's where it comes to. We both know that the journey these families are on is extremely challenging, and it can be extremely lonely. But there is tons of stuff out there. There are tons of platforms that do support parents. So I think the road ahead is very hopeful. Especially, I mean, it's however way you want to look at it, it's society. Autism is talked about more than ever. Whether you think it's a good thing or a bad thing, at least there's attention finally on autism and some of the realities these families face. So that's amazing. If you could give one message to parents
Mhm.
listening, what would that be?
I would say, number one, don't give up hope. Don't put limitations on your child. Do not listen to limitations that are put on your child. It's
Yes.
just don't. It's not even worth your energy or your time. You don't know what the future is going to hold. And you just have to keep moving forward. And one little thing, one little miracle will lead to another miracle, and those will lead to big
Mhm.
change. And there's so many opportunities and there's so many possibilities. And I think what we like to do in our RDI programs is help the parents visualize the future they want. 6 months from now, a year from now, maybe 3 years from now. Sit down and really think about it. Write it down like a story in the
Mhm.
life of your child and your family in those periods of time, and visualize that. What does that look like? Not a script of all the skills they're going to learn or what they're going to say specifically, but the feel. And focus on that. Focus on, that vision that you want for your child. And it does take a lot of hard work. It does take a lot of commitment and determination and resilience. These families are incredible with resilience and
Yeah.
how strong and powerful they are and capable. And so take that time to just really set your intentions around what you want for your child's life, what's most important, and make that your driving force. So when people are recommending things, think about it, decide, does that feel right? Does that fit in with your family vision and mission? And
Yeah.
then make that your decision maker. They make that your compass. And if you stay on
Right.
that, you're going to find the path. The path will present
Yeah.
itself. And I like
That
like to say, like, where your attention goes, energy flows.
that's right. That's hilarious. That phrase has been going through my head the last couple days.
That's right.
That's awesome. And then, I mean, I'm so glad you brought that up because that is such a powerful exercise that families can do that I think is forgotten
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to the future of their child. And I actually hit on that in my IEP course
Oh,
coming
good.
out in a couple March.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the first module, the first exercise, is really get some clarity on what you want the trajectory of your child to be, which you it's not a common practice.
Yeah, I know. And it can be,
So
I mean,
that's huge.
it can be so simple, and it's so fun to go back after when, that time has passed, 6 months or a year, and realize, wow, that's their life now. That is your life now. I get to tell the families that is your life now. And because of you and your changes that you made, you created this for your family. And how incredible, you know?
That's powerful. So good. So much hope.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much, Brooke, for being on. It was a short but powerful conversation. I know it's going to provoke a lot of thought
Mm-hmm.
for families, and just to know that there is hope. That's
Yeah.
everything. Where can people find you?
Yeah. So to learn about TAG, or Therapeutic Approach to Growth, our website is TAG for FOR growth, GROWTH.com. And we're on Facebook as well, more than Instagram. And then to find it, and we also offer weekly complimentary presentations for RDI. So every
Okay.
family can have a complimentary consult with us. But if they want to learn more and see video examples and understand the flow, you can sign up for one of those, and you meet with our director of RDI, and she will be there to answer questions as well. So it's very intimate and live. And then for the podcast and the online courses, it's all at findinghopeonthespectrum.com. And I also have Instagram, Facebook, as well for the podcast. So, and those are all findinghopeonthespectrum.com.
Okay. I just found the Facebook page.
Oh, great.
Follow. So good. Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. You can find Brooke Wagner with Therapeutic Approach to Growth. Thank you so much for being on. It's an honor.
Thank you so much. I love this conversation.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. We love these conversations, and our goal is for all of you parents to be seen and heard in community with one another, inspired and equipped to take on this life. Just remember one thing: if you don't hear anything else, if you don't remember anything from this week's episode, hear this: you are enough. You have what it takes. Thanks again for being here.